In a crowded conference room, the air crackles with tension as two titans of thought prepare to clash over one of the greatest mysteries of the human experience. German-born Professor Christoph Koch, who currently serves as the head of the Allen Institute for Neuroscience in Seattle, has worked on brain mapping as well as artificial intelligence. In 1990, he published the first of a series of papers he wrote with Francis Crick, known as the co-discoverer of the structure of DNA. In the paper, the two claimed to have found the neurological basis for consciousness, and they could map how consciousness emerges from the nervous system, just as genetics emerge. The philosopher is David Chalmers, who was born in Australia, studied mathematics for his undergraduate degree, and completed a doctorate in cognitive science at Indiana University. Today, Chalmers is head of the Institute for Brain and Consciousness Research at New York University. Chalmers was a much younger and less famous researcher at the time, but he dared to argue with Koch. He argued that neither synchronization nor the rate of neuronal firing explained anything significant about the experience of consciousness. Yes, he argued, we know that processes in the brain produce perception, decision-making, and behavior. But all of this exists even without our subjective experience that we are intelligent beings, experiencing and even influencing this process.
Chalmers called this question the hard problem. What does this even mean? He argued that all the problems concerning the way the brain processes information and sends instructions to the rest of the body are easy problems. This does not mean that we know exactly how the brain works, but we do have some idea of how a machine can process information and some ideas about how this machine called a brain does it. These phenomena can be explained by the structure and function of the system. Consciousness is another matter, Chalmers argued. Even if we understand how the brain functions, we cannot explain how consciousness arises, because we still have no answer to the question of why this phenomenon creates an experience.
Koch declared that his mission in life was to make the hard problem easier.
At the same conference, Chalmers said that consciousness may be embodied in some way in the information passing through the brain, or perhaps consciousness is not connected to the brain at all, and if so, a computer could also have consciousness. Even a thermostat could have some.
Koch, for his part, argued that this was an untestable hypothesis and therefore irrelevant, and opposed the idea that consciousness was something that could not be studied with the tools of brain research. The discussion between them continued for years, until at another scientific conference in 1998, Koch promised Chalmers a box of wine bottles if in 25 years it was not possible to clearly identify the pattern of brain activity that produces consciousness.
In the heat of the debate, a daring wager is placed, setting the stage for a 25-year journey into the unknown. As the years roll on, the quest for understanding consciousness intensifies, yet elusive truths remain hidden. The moment arrives and the results unfold, revealing the complexities that still shroud understanding.
Consciousness is brain activity, chemical and electrical communication of neurons, or whether there is something beyond the brain, the mind, the soul, which is a separate platform from the physical, and in which consciousness actually arises. The secret of consciousness. A journey through years of scientific research to the hard core of Jewish secret doctrine.
Mary's Room is a philosophical thought experiment proposed by Frank Jackson in his article Epiphenomenal Qualia, which was published at 1982 and extended in What Mary Didn't Know. The experiment describes Mary, a scientist who exists in a black and white world where she has extensive access to physical descriptions of colour, but no actual perceptual experience of colour. Mary has learned everything there is to learn about colour, but she has never actually experienced it for herself. The central question of the thought experiment is whether Mary will gain new knowledge when she goes outside of the colourless world and experiences seeing in colour. The experiment is intended to argue against physicalism, the view that the universe, including all that is mental, is entirely physical. Jackson says that
Irresistible conclusion is that there are more properties than physicalists talk about.
Jackson would eventually call himself a physicalist and say in 2023,
I no longer accept the argument, though he still feels that the argument should be addressed really seriously if you are a physicalist. The debate that emerged following its publication became the subject of an edited volume, There's Something About Mary, AT 2004, which includes replies from such philosophers as Daniel Dennett, David Lewis, and Paul Churchland.
Frank Jackson, in his article Epiphenomenal Qualia, which was published in 1982, changed the concept of consciousness. What brings the neuroscientists Ned Block to declare that the two types of consciousness are separated and that a phenomenal consciousness can happen without access consciousness. This conclusion of Ned Block led to the claim: the phenomenal consciousness qualia can't be reductive to specific neuronal correlates activity in the brain. The valence of qualia is actually integrated in the mind.
Have you ever wondered what makes the color red to you? Or why the taste of chocolate is so uniquely different for each individual? What if the way you perceive these sensations is entirely different from the way someone else experiences them? Welcome to the mesmerizing world of consciousness, a realm where the subjective experience of sensations, also known as qualia, reigns supreme. It's a concept that has mystified philosophers, neuroscientists, and thinkers alike for centuries, and today we delve into this intriguing topic. Qualia, in its simplest form, refers to the subjective experiences that are associated with our perceptions. It's the redness of a red apple, the sweetness of a ripe mango, or the pain of a stubbed toe. Each of these experiences is unique to the individual, and yet, despite our best efforts, we can't quite explain why or how we perceive them in the way that we do. This is the non-reductive nature of qualia. It suggests that our conscious experiences cannot be reduced or explained simply by examining the physical processes in our brains. No matter how much we study the neuronal activity associated with seeing the color red, we can't explain why it appears red to us. It's a phenomenon that goes beyond the physical, delving into the realm of the subjective, the personal, the individual. In exploring the concept of qualia, we find ourselves grappling with the question of consciousness itself. How is it that our brains, composed of billions of neurons firing electrical signals, create the rich tapestry of our subjective experiences? How do we go from the physical to the phenomenal? Qualia, with its non-reductive nature, challenges our understanding of the mind and consciousness. It prompts us to question the very nature of our reality. Are our experiences purely the result of physical processes, or is there more to it? Is there a secret layer of consciousness that we're yet to discover? And so we find that the concept of qualia, while complex, opens up a world of possibilities. It challenges us to look beyond the physical, to explore the realm of the subjective, and to question the very nature of our experiences. It's a journey into the unknown, a dive into the depths of our minds, and a quest for understanding the true nature of consciousness. To summarize, we have delved into the concept of qualia, the unique subjective experiences that we associate with our perceptions. We have explored its non-reductive nature, which suggests that these experiences cannot be explained simply by physical processes in the brain. And finally, we have grappled with the implications of this concept, questioning the nature of consciousness and our understanding of reality. So the next time you bite into a juicy apple or watch a stunning sunset, take a moment to ponder on the unique experience that is qualia. Remember, it's not just about seeing the color red or tasting the sweetness of fruit. It's about the unique subjective experience that you alone are privy to. And that, dear listeners, is the mesmerizing mystery of consciousness.